Okay, so good evening, everyone. And I am Muhammad Imran, and today we'll be doing some number theory. So topic is GCD and LCM of integers. Okay, okay, yeah, okay. So we'll be doing GCD and LCM of integers. Okay. And what we'll be doing is we'll be doing introduction to GCD and LCM. Then we'll be doing some properties of GCD and LCM. And we'll be doing a lot of problems followed by a quiz. Okay, let's start. So, first, what is GCD and LCM? The introduction to GCD and LCM. Okay, GCD is also known as the greatest common divisor, and it is denoted by GCD bracket something. Okay, that something we'll discuss later. When we say to find the GCD of two integers, it means to find the biggest integer such that it is a factor of both of those integers. For example, we can take an example. GCD of 12, 16 is equal to 4. Okay, this is for GCD. Now for LCM, LCM is also known as the least common multiple and is denoted by LCM of something. When we say find the LCM of two integers, it means to find the least integer such that it's divisible by both of those integers. For example, LCM of 12 and 16 is equal to 48. These are a few properties. GCD of A comma B is always greater than or equal to 1, where A and B are integers. Then second property is LCM of A comma B is also greater than or equal to 1, where A and B are integers. And GCD of A comma B times LCM of A comma B is AB, where A and B are integers as well here. And if GCD of A1 comma A2 comma etc till AN is equal to Q for some integers A1, A etc till AN and Q, then GCD of A1 over Q comma A2 over Q comma etc till AN over Q is equal to 1. Okay, I think these four identities must be clear to all of you, because GCD of A comma B greater than or equal to 1 is obvious. LCM is greater than or equal to 1 is also obvious. The third one, it's left for you to prove. If you are interested to prove the third identity, it's left for you to prove. It's a simple one. And fourth one is obviously trivial, because all of them are factors of Q, and when you divide them, they'll all be co-prime. The fifth one is not trivial. The fifth one is known as Bezout's identity. Bezout's identity states that if GCD of two numbers A comma B is equal to 1, then and they satisfy, obviously A and B are integers, then there exist integers x and y satisfying ax plus by is equal to 1. Now there is a big generalization which we can do. Let me take out my pen. Okay, we can do generalization. If GCD, I want someone to prove this. If GCD of A comma B is equal to, say, some D. Okay, we'll see who's proving this. Okay, so I am defining the GCD of two numbers A and B. I mean two numbers in the sense, whenever I say number here in number theory, it means two positive integers, or I mean two integers for now. Okay, when I say that two integers A and B have greatest common divisor D. Okay, we have this. Okay, then what I want you to show is, okay, we will assume for now, okay, that 5 property 5 is true. Okay, we will just go with property 5. Let's not try proving property 5. Let's try proving this property. If GCD of A comma B is equal to D, then there exists integer x comma y, who are all like, I'll just write this down, belong to Z, such that ax plus by is equal to d. So this is very powerful, and this can be helpful for solving some problems in GCD LCM. Okay, I think I can give some time and you can try proving this. So let me let me tell the question again. So you are given that GCD of two numbers a and b is equal to d, where d is a number. I mean d is an integer, a positive integer, obviously. Okay, and you are given that, I mean, you have to show that there exist two integers x and y, which satisfies the relation ax plus by is equal to d. Can someone show that this will be true? Any ideas? So we can break the question down into parts. For solving this question, there can be there will be two identities from the 5 identities which I have given, and you can use that and you can prove this. Two of the 5 identities here which I have given in this presentation. Okay, using both of those, like any two of these identities, I don't know which two, you have to figure out, it's up to you. You can prove this fact which I just stated. GCD of a comma b equal to t and etc. Okay, I think I can give 5 minutes time. You can think over this. 5 minutes is too much, I guess. I think you can give 1 or 2 minutes time and you can think over this problem, and we'll see who's getting the right answer. Okay, does anybody have an idea? Okay, there is one answer. Okay, I think I can unmute and you can just tell. Okay, so let's see. Yes. Yes. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, you can tell your answer.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that consider A is equal to D times M and B is equal to D times N. So we know that the GCD of A and B is D. So M and N must be co-prime. So that is GCD of M and N must be 1. So now in considering AX plus BY, we first assume that the given is true. That is AX plus BY equal to D, and simply substitute the value of A and B. So MX plus NY
Hello?
identity and is true.
Yes, correct. Okay. So I think, yeah. Thank you for the answer. Okay. Did you understand what he told? Did you understand what did he tell? Anyway, I'm going to tell it. See, okay, wait this one. Okay. Yeah, correct. So what he's telling, what is the claim he's making? If instead of doing this, we can directly use fourth identity. We'll be using two identities here, fourth identity and fifth identity. By assuming that identities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are already true. Okay, we'll assume that identities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are already true. So let So now since we are given that GCD of A comma B is equal to 1, this is a given fact, right? I mean GCD of A comma B is equal to D. Now we can directly impart identity 4 here. So when you impart identity 4 here, what happens? You get that GCD of A by D and see what is that, B by D is equal to 1, right? By identity 4 directly. We don't have to like, yeah, there's this is another way where you can do. You can impart identity 4 now. Now, since A by D and B by D are there, and these two must be integers, A by D and B by D must be integers, we can assume that A is equal to MD. Okay, this is an alternate way which I am doing. This is not the only answer. I mean, this is not the only way to do it. Nikhil has also given another way, but I feel that using this identities is much better. Okay, now when I put the values of like M and MD and ND inside, then we can get that GCD of M comma N is equal to 1. You get GCD of M comma N is equal to 1. Now again we can apply our fifth identity. When you apply fifth identity, there will be existing integers x and y satisfying mx, okay, plus ny is equal to 1. Now what happens when you multiply by d? When you multiply by d on both sides, you get mdx plus ndy is equal to d. But md is what? Md is nothing but a. So it's nothing but when you multiplying by d on both sides, you get mdx plus ndy is equal to d. And what is md here? Md is nothing but a. So you have ax plus nd is nothing but b plus by is nothing but d. That's it. So I think you're clear with this one. How? So by using 5 and 4, we directly got the answer. So those were the two identities I was talking about. Okay. So I think, does anybody have doubts? Does anyone have any doubts on the problem which we just did? Any doubts? Okay. Okay, I think we can move on. Okay, now there are 4 problems. There are 4 problems given. First one is find the smallest positive integer n such that the 73 fractions 19 by n plus 21, 20 by n plus 22, so on till 91 by n plus 93 are all irreducible. Okay, so I hope you know what is an irreducible fraction. We say a fraction irreducible if you cannot reduce it anymore. For example, 2 by 4 is not irreducible because you can reduce it to 1 by 2. But 1 by 2 is irreducible because we cannot reduce it more. Okay. Yeah. And this book is there in a book by Tito Andrescu. Tito Andrescu book. This is a problem given there. And this is a very famous problem. I mean, it has come in some contest, I guess. And the second problem is, let m and n be natural numbers, and you have to prove that if mn divides m square plus n square, then m is equal to n. Second problem. Third problem is, okay, prove that 21n plus 4 over 14n plus 3 is irreducible. For n is a positive integer. I missed that out. Sorry for that. N is a positive integer here, and this fraction must be irreducible. I mean, sorry, n is any integer. N is any integer, not positive integer. Clear that. N is any integer. For any integral value of n, this fraction is obviously, always irreducible. You have to prove this. Okay. And the next one is fourth problem is let ik denote, like ik denote k factorial plus 1, which is ik is equal to k factorial plus 1. So you have to prove that the greatest common divisor of in and in plus 1 is equal to 1. Yes. So this is the given. Ik is equal to k factorial plus 1. Prove that GCD of in plus 1 is equal to 1. I have wantedly, the fourth problem, you think it is confusing, but it is not. I have wantedly skipped terms like this ik, to just confuse, to like instead of a k I could have added sigma also. I mean, I could have added alpha and beta. I just wanted to like confuse you in fourth problem. I'm telling you this ik equal to k factorial plus 1 is nothing. You just have to make the substitution, like in is equal to n factorial plus 1 and in plus 1 is n plus 1 factorial plus 1, and then you do the kind of some kind of algebraic manipulation, or you can say number theoretic manipulation, then finally you arrive at the answer. So you can try to do fourth problem. This is not tough. I have wantedly kept in and in plus 1. Okay. So you can start solving 1, 2, 3, and 4. For 1, 2, 3, and 4, our identities will only be used. Only our identities will be applied. I guess only our identities will apply. And for problem number 1, I just want to tell you, I'm just giving you the hints. I mean, how the problems may come. For problem number 1, okay, there is one identity. If you are introduced to GCD, the concept of GCD and LCM. So when you are, I mean, you would have been introduced to GCD and LCM because in school they teach GCD LCM at like 7th or 8th. But this is not that kind of GCD LCM. If you are not introduced to this level of GCD and LCM, for problem number 1, you will be needing to prove one part. You have to prove one consequence. Then you can continue solving problem 1. If you already know it, then you can just solve it. So I'm just giving all the hints required for 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that it becomes simpler because you have less time. Okay, like just asking, how much time do you want for solving 4 problems? These 4 problems, how much time do you want for like to solve these problems? You can just type in the chat. If you quickly type your opinion in the chat, then we can quickly continue. Okay, 3 minutes. So if you quickly give it in the chat, then we can decide when to keep the, like how much time to give for the problems. Okay, 2 done. 5 minutes. Okay, I think we can keep it 5 minutes. Fine. 5 minutes is the time given for you to solve these 4 problems, and we can see how many are solving these problems and how, like what is the quantity and who solve those problems after 5 minutes. Okay, I think we should start solving problem number 1. Okay, we'll start solving problem number 1. Did anyone get the answer for question number 1? Just raise your hand. I just want to see how many got how many questions. Okay, so whoever got the answer for problem number 1, raise your hand. Okay, I'm assuming nobody got the answer. Okay, fine. 1. Okay. For problem number 2, how many have got the answer? Quickly just raise your hand. If you have got the answer, just raise your hand immediately, so that we can quickly move on to problem 3 and 4. Okay. Uh, I'm assuming nobody got problem 2. For problem, how many got problem number 3 correctly? Just quickly raise your hand if you got it. Okay, I'm assuming nobody got problem number 3. And how many got answer for problem number 4? Okay. So problem number 1, Nikhil has got, and 2, 3, and 4, like, yeah. Okay, I think we can start for problem number 1. Okay, so you have problem number 1. Okay, nice. I think Aniruddha got answer for third problem. Just quickly raise your hand now, so that I don't like we can quickly continue. Okay. Anyway, we will start with problem number 1. Does anybody have any idea how to proceed for problem number 1? Like about 5 to 10% idea. Any idea how to proceed problem number 1? Any idea on how to proceed to problem 1? You can quickly raise your hand. Okay, I'm assuming no one has any idea. Even like very small ideas also okay. Like anything, what did you get at first? Like when you started problem 1, what did you do it? Like how did you, or what kind of hit, what idea rang the bell in your mind? If you have that, that is itself okay. Like any idea you have, then this tell. Okay, and assuming that nobody got have an idea. Okay, I will start now. First thing, when you look at these fractions, what can we observe? When you look at these fractions, we observe that the difference between these two. Okay, before that, let me do one thing. Okay, see, first thing we want to do, when you say a fraction a by b is irreducible, what can we say about that? If fraction a by b is irreducible, okay, what can we say about a and b? Is there any relation between a and b? Yes, there is. Can somebody tell me what happens to a and b if a by b is irreducible? I can give examples: 3 by 4, 7 by 11, 19 by 23. These are not irreducible fractions because you cannot reduce them. Okay. So can somebody tell what is the relation between a and b that is linked with GCD and LCM? Because right now currently we are doing GCD and LCM. Exactly. So what Aniruddha is telling, that the greatest common divisor of A and B is 1, right? Because if GCD of A comma B, I mean the greatest common divisor of A and B is not 1, for example, it is some integer n, I mean in positive integer m, okay? Then you can easily reduce it. Why? Because A can be written as MA1 and B can be written as MB1. MM are gone. So A by B is a reducible fraction. So we can thereby conclude that the greatest common divisor of A and B is 1. Okay, I think you understood that. So that is the first hit which we should get in our mind when you're writing, like if you are there in this contest, then that is the first hit that should come in the brain. The second thing which we can do is, okay, that is let me write it down. When you say a fraction is irreducible, I told that I am not writing it down because it takes a lot of time writing whatever I said there. Okay, now the second idea which you should get is, okay, and this is not like I'm just telling the ideas. I'm not just immediately giving the answer because that is not correct. So I'm just slowly giving the ideas and then we can get the answers. Now the second thing is, now we know that for these fractions, okay, if this is an irreducible fraction, then we have GCD of A comma B is what? 1. Okay. Okay. So now we look at this. Okay. Now GCD of 9. So if they are all irreducible, then GCD of 19 comma n plus 21 is 1. GCD of 20 comma n plus 22 is 1. GCD of n plus 23 and 21 is 1. So what do we have? We have n plus 21, 19, n plus 22, 20, n plus 23, 21, and so on. What to do with that? We cannot get anything out of that. Just like that, we can do it, but we need to do one. We need to go another step forward. We need to go 2 more steps forward, and the answer is there. Okay, so we will do the second step now. What is the second step? See, when you are saying when A and B are two integers, GCD, okay, of A comma B. Just a minute. A, just a minute. So A comma B, A comma B divides A minus B. Is this right or wrong? GCD of A comma B divides A minus B. No, minus this. Is this right or wrong? The greatest common divisor of A and B divides A minus B. Correct or not? Yes. Because why? Can you give a reason? I think Hetty got the answer. Can you just give the reason? I'll unmute you and I want a reason because yes. Why should when GCD of A comma B, why should GCD of A comma B actually divide A minus B?
So GCD of A, let the GCD of A comma B be M. So A will be M into something and B will be M into some other thing. So A minus B, we can remove M common. So M can divide M. So that is why.
Okay, correct. Yes, exactly. So what she's telling is, see, let GCD of A comma B equal to M. Okay. Just last like one, we made a configuration, right? Like that AX plus BY equal to D, that thing. We saw that if GCD of A comma B is equal to D, then it means that A divides D and B divides D. I mean, D divides A and D divides B. So now let's assume GCD of A comma B equal to D. Then it means that D divides A and D divides B. So if D divides A and D divides B, we can say that A equal to D times some number and B equal to D times some number. So A minus B is nothing but D times some integer. So D will obviously divide D times an integer because D divides D, so D will divide D times any integer. So hence GCD of A comma B divides A minus B. So this is the second. This should be the second idea which will ring in your mind. Okay. Now for the third one, what will be the third idea? Now we have got some configurations. Okay. Now what to do with them? We need to apply them somehow in the problem. Our aim is not to get these configurations. Our aim is to solve the problem. Okay. Yes. Now see, when you have all these fractions, we can say that the GCD of n plus 2, I mean GCD of what is n plus 21 and 19 Okay, divides n plus 2. Okay, and now we know that this is equal to 1, so this is true. We can have it. So let me just, yeah. So this is the third idea which you can get. Just a minute, I don't know this. Now for the fourth one, the fourth idea which you can get is, now, okay, let's see who is proving this. Okay, GCD of A comma B, okay, is equal to GCD of let's say, yes, A minus B comma B. Can somebody prove this? Does somebody want to prove this? GCD of A comma B is equal to GCD of A minus B comma B. Does anyone have any idea on how to prove this? Any idea? That GCD of A comma B is equal to GCD of A minus B comma B. It is really simple. Did anyone get this? GCD of A comma B equal to GCD of A minus B comma B. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, fine. Okay, did anyone else get the answer? Okay, I think nobody got it, so I think you can tell the answer. Yes.
Okay, so the GCD is like the highest common factor. So if the GCD of A and B is suppose M, then as I said in the last question also, A minus B, we can remove M common, so it will still remain M.
Okay. So you have M times some number, comma. So okay. So let me configure this. I understand what you're telling. See, GCD of A comma B is equal to M, which means that let A equal to MA1 and B equal to MB1. So it means that GCD of A minus B comma B will be M times A1 minus B1 comma B M times B1. Correct?
Yes, okay, I got it. So,
Wait, just a minute. Let me tell you. That is there, but that doesn't mean that the GCD of A minus B comma B is equal to M, because you have an M common.
yeah, okay, so at least one M is common right now. Now we just have to prove that the GCD of A1 minus B1 and B1 is 1.
Okay, how do you do that?
Yeah. Since the GCD of A1 and B1 is 1, that is why the GCD of A and B is M.
Okay.
So there's nothing common between A1 and B1. So when we do A1 minus B1, we can remove nothing common.
Yes, correct. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So, yes. So, what she said was, see, you have GCD of A comma B is equal to this. How is that true? That is because A and B. So you can write A as MA1 and B as MB1. Okay, now I think I will leave you to prove this, because I think I've already done one thing earlier. So you have these configurations now. Okay, I'll erase these now. Now, okay, using these configurations, we can say that, what can we say? So the GCD of all these numbers is like GCD of, you can see that the difference between the denominator and numerator is constant, which is n plus 2. So GCD of the denominator comma numerator and this all of them will be nothing but GCD of n plus 2. and some number. See, some number from 19 to 91. Any number, for example, x, where x lies from 19 to 91. Now you want to see smallest value of n satisfying this. Now how to do that? It is nothing but finding the least prime number such that this is satisfied. So you need to find the least prime number so that n which is bigger than 91. That's another catch here. Because if there is a prime smaller than 91, then it will come over here. It will come in the list. And if there is a prime which is smaller than 19, then there will be a multiple of that prime number bigger than 19, which lies from 19 to 91. So the thing is, you need to find the least prime number bigger than 91. So what is the least prime number you have? You have that the least prime number is 97. So hence, answer is 97. Okay? Yes. Okay, now second problem. How to do second problem? Okay. And also I want to tell you one thing. The class may go for about 20 more minutes because we started at 4:20 because of some network problems. So yeah, anyway, so for second problem, see, prove that if mn divides m square plus n square. Okay, mn divides m square plus n square. So you have to prove that m is equal to n. So now I'll assume that GCD, again I'm just using the same GCD techniques. GCD of and just a minute, let me do one thing. I don't want to do here. Let me take a annotation and yes. Okay, I think you can. Oh, you can't see. Okay, I'll just manage this. Okay. So for second problem, we need to prove this mn. So I think you have the question. Now we'll just move on. Let GCD of m and n be equal to say d, and d is equal to, I mean, m1 d is equal to m, and n1 d is equal to n. Okay. So then where m1 and n1 are co-prime, you do the substitution. When you do the substitution, you will get m1 n1. Okay, m1 n1 divides m1 square plus n1 square. Right? How did I get this? You put m equal to dm1, n equal to dn1, d square into m1 n1. That divides d square m1 square plus d square n1 square. So d square will get cancelled and you will get this. Now if m1 n1 divides m1 square plus n1 square, okay, it means that, see, if this itself is dividing this, it means that m1 should divide this first. If m1 n1 can divide m1 square plus n1 square, it means that m1 must divide m1 square plus n1 square. Now you know that m1 divides m1 square. So it's left to prove, we need to show that m1 divides n1 square. So m1 divides n1 square. Similarly, you can also get n1 divides n1 square. Correct? Okay. By symmetry, you will get both of these results. So if m1 divides n1 square, it means that m1 divides n1. And also you have n1 divides n1. Now if m1 divides n1 and n1 divides m1, it means that m1 is equal to n1. If m1 is equal to n1 and GCD of m1 comma n1 is 1, these two are both equal to 1. So what can you do? In place of m1 you can put 1, in place of n1 you can put 1, and you will get m equal to d, n equal to d. So m is equal to n is equal to d. So finally we have m is equal to n. So that is our result. So hence we have proved 2. Just a minute. Yes. Now for 3, prove that this is irreducible. Again, whenever we talk about irreducibility, and that too it is there in the GCD LCM concept, directly we need to try to impart some GCD LCM techniques here. When you want to see that this is irreducible, it means that the GCD directly we can again tell of, we need to just prove this. 21n plus 4 and 14n plus 3. Okay, this should be equal to 1, correct? And how to do this? We can use our Bezout's identity. How to do that? Okay, I'll tell you how to do that. Now, see, if you can note closely, you can see that 3 times 14n plus 3, okay, minus 2 times 21n plus 4 is equal to 1. Okay, now let this be a, let this term be a, this term be b, and then let 3 equal to x, okay, and minus 2 is equal to y. It means that ax plus by is equal to 1. Now what identity, what remains this? What identity remains this? Like, this remains which identity? It remains our Bezout's identity. So ax plus by is equal to 1. It means that GCD of a and b is 1, right? GCD of a and b is 1, GCD of x and y is 1. That is obvious. GCD of a and b must be 1. Why? Because if GCD of a and b is not 1, if it is more than 1, then you can take it out common. Then you will get a unit fraction as an integer, which is not possible. So GCD of a and b must be 1. Hence, GCD of 14n plus 3 and 21n plus 4 must be 1. Hence, 21n plus 4 by 14n plus 3 is an irreducible fraction. Okay, I think problem 3 is done, and for problem 4, okay, problem 4 is simple. Okay, like I just complicated this. So in and in plus 1, what are they? You can write this as GCD of, we have let's say, yes, n factorial plus 1 and n plus 1 factorial plus 1. Okay, now you have to prove that this is equal to 1. We can prove this. Okay, now I can say that n plus 1 times n factorial plus 1 minus n plus 1 factorial plus 1, okay, n plus 1 times n plus 1 times n factorial plus 1 minus n plus 1 factorial plus 1 is equal to n. Is this right or not? See, it is correct, because n plus 1 times n factorial is n plus 1 factorial. So n plus 1 factorial will be gone. Then n plus 1 into 1 is n plus 1, and you have this minus 1 there. N plus 1 minus 1 is nothing but n. This means that, what does this mean? This means that GCD of n factorial plus 1 and n plus 1 factorial plus 1 divides n, not equal to n, divides n. So this means that GCD of, okay, GCD of n factorial plus 1 and n plus 1 factorial plus 1 divides n. Okay, we'll assume that the sum d is equal to this, okay? D is equal to this term. So it means that d divides n and d divides n, right? We know that d divides n. So we know that D divides N, correct? This is what we know that because of this thing there, we know that D divides N. And how did I get this first? See, this is how the form AX plus BY is equal to D. So AX plus BY is equal to D means, then what does it mean? It means that GCD of A comma B must divide D. Okay, so we have D divides N now, which means that D divides N factorial. Now D divides N factorial is what we have. Now since D is the GCD of N factorial plus 1 and N plus 1 factorial plus 1, it means that D also divides N factorial plus 1. Now D divides N factorial, D divides N factorial plus 1. From here we can see that D divides two consecutive integers. So when D divides two consecutive integers, it means that D must be equal to 1. Right? Because when D is dividing two consecutive integers, then it means that D is equal to 1. For example, like you cannot find any integer other than 1 which divides two consecutive integers. So D must be 1. This is confirmed. So greatest common divisor of this is equal to 1. So this is how when you are taking GCD LCM problems in Olympiad examination, this is the method. Like this kind of problems will be asked in, I think, in INMO, Indian National Mathematics Olympiad. Also this problem, like some problem related to this was asked, and this problem was asked in some Olympiad. Okay, and this irreducible problem was asked in an examination called IMO. I think you're all like familiar with that. IMO, very old IMO. I think it is 1980, in the 1980s. Okay, this problem was asked, and yeah, we just solved it now. Okay, I think we can move on now. So there are 4 problems. You can try this. There are 4 problems. You can try them. So first problem is, let k be an odd number. Prove this. 1 plus 2 plus etc. plus n divides 1 power k plus 2 power k plus etc. till n power k. This one is not related to, this problem is not related to, GCD LCM, but I just wanted to give it a try, because when we take a topic, we must not just stick to that. We like for just a refreshment problem, I just gave this. K is an odd number. Okay, I'm repeating once more. K is an odd number. Okay, and just a minute. Just give me a minute. Yes. K is an odd number, and yes, that's K is an odd number. That's all. Okay. The second problem is, this problem is quite complicated. If you want, you can take this down, or this quiz problems I can just put it in Google Classrooms. Okay. Prove that GCD of a power m minus 1, a power n minus 1 is equal to a power GCD of mn minus 1. Okay. This is second problem. Third problem is, let m, n and k be natural numbers such that LCM of m plus k and m is equal to LCM of n plus k and n. I know that I have not done any problem related to LCM, but let's see how you are tackling a problem which has LCM in it. Okay. Then is the fourth problem. Let GCD of a comma b be 1. Prove that the GCD of a square plus b square and ab is equal to 1. This is fourth problem is a kind of simple problem. Problems 1 and 4 are simple. I just gave them as refreshment problems. Problems 2 and 3 are only the problems which you must try. These two problems are quite complicated problems. So yeah, and I think this is okay. You can take this down if you want. It's like quiz, like it became a homework now because we have less time, and I think we have to close the meeting. Okay, and yes. Okay, so thank you for coming, and I think I'll stop the recording.